Hi there, absolutely joyful to be with you today. We're going to talk about babies because I had a few of them and I have some wonderful tips that worked really well for me over the years, a lot of years. I had 8 babies and my oldest was 16 when I had Heidi, so a lot of fun ideas. One thing I love to share is if you have an upset baby, toddler, 4 or 5 year old even, to take them on the front porch or the back porch and give them a little bit different atmosphere. If it's hot outside, you probably have the air conditioning on inside and you go outside, it's a change of atmosphere. If it's cold outside, you probably have the heater on inside, you go outside, it's a change of atmosphere. For some reason, it just gets them to stop and take a breath and listen a little bit better. It even, I can remember having Rose babysitting and calling to say, what can I do to help calm this baby? And I gave her that tip and it worked just beautifully. So use that one so many times and so many times since. So that's a great one. I love to use cornstarch baby powder, just that cornstarch. I actually use more natural things now and add cornstarch to it to make my own. A&D ointment was always our favorite for diaper rash. I can remember talking to my babies like they were much older than they were. And I love that technique and I would encourage you to do that. They understand so much more than we give them credit for. And if we can talk to them even when they're little and say things like, I just know that you're fussy and you're upset about something and you're going to learn how to talk and use words soon so that you can share with me how you're feeling. Somehow just talking to them, even when they don't have a voice, can help calm them down, and talking to them as if they understand. I think they understand more than we think. And then as they get to be a little bit older, same thing. They may have a voice and may be able to talk, but if you just keep talking to them and asking them questions, they are going to respond and do great. My teacher in this was my sister Carrie, and I was just about to have my first child. And so her oldest was probably 9 months old, sitting in the back seat in a car seat. Carrie was driving, and I can remember her 9-month-old just blah, 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 and Carrie saying, oh, I just love that story. Tell me some more. I remember thinking, okay. And that was really my first lesson, that we can listen and they understand so much more than we think. So that's a good one. I learned this one recently. So you know how we get frustrated sometimes? Well, little ones get frustrated too. And we need to calm down. And I love to take deep breaths. I use that now a lot, taking deep breaths. But I learned recently the starfish breathing technique. So, and I've taught it to my almost 3-year-old granddaughter. But you take their hand, and actually they do it themselves. And you start here and you take a deep breath. It's amazing how much calmer I feel when I take 5 deep breaths. And when I first introduced it to my granddaughter, she was just entranced by what I was doing with my hand and my finger, and then she started to do it too. And it's just a wonderful technique. Let's see if we can calm down and breathe deep. And it's just really good. Another great one is to encourage those little ones, 2, 3, 4, stop and think of a different way to handle it. So I was in the backyard recently with this granddaughter, and she was so frustrated about not wanting to get on a certain swing. And she could have just said no, but she worked and she started fussing. And I started doing the starfish, and she didn't want to do it. She was still being grumpy. And she walked behind a tree, and I said, can you maybe stop? And I do this, stop and think of a different way to handle it. So for some reason, if you have emotion, it helps get in their mind a lot more. And so I said, could you stop and think of a different way to handle it? And she peeked around the tree and she went, no, thank you. That was perfect. And so stop and think is something I use with my children all the time. It just gives them a visual to stop what you're upset about right now. Just think of a different way to handle it. So that's a great tip. All right, I've got one more, and I am very structured. So I know some of you are not, but children love structure. And so if you can find ways to be even a little bit structured, they will do better. If they have a routine, they will do better. At my house, we had a morning routine and an afternoon routine and a bedtime routine and a Saturday chore routine. We had lots of routines. And that structure helps a child know what is expected. So recently, again, with this little granddaughter, she's the one that's in my life, I just started making a plan with her. I said, okay, I had her overnight. And so I said, this morning we're going to have breakfast. We're going to comb your hair. We're going to get dressed. We're going to play with Play-Doh. And then we're going to go outside in the backyard. And she was so thrilled with that. We went through it again. And so when we were done with breakfast, she knew what was next. And then what was next. And then after we play outside, we say, well, guess what? It's time to go in. It's time for lunch. And then it's time for Grandma to exercise. She likes to exercise with me and watch a show. And then it's time for books and songs and a nap. And she knows exactly what comes next. And it helps her to handle going down for a nap, to handle coming in from outside, because she knows there's a plan and she knows what's next. Children really love to have a routine. They have a routine when they go to school. They have to for survival at school, you know. We do this and then we do this and we do this. And they know what to expect. And then they do better. Thanks for letting me share these tips with you today. I hope that you have an absolutely joyful day and find lots of ways to feel peace.